Girls, what was the most stupid excuse your cheating partner ever told you? Story 1. I was too embarrassed. That was actually his excuse for lying about the fact he cheated with a man he met on Craigslist, who gave him a toothy blowjob. I don't think he ever actually gave an excuse for any of his cheating. Before that, it was mostly emotional cheating. The reason it was a stupid excuse is I have always been very openly bisexual. I love giving head, and I wanted to give him the world, and probably would have been okay with opening our marriage if he had been honest with me and just asked. Same guy. She's crazy. She has so many dogs. About the girl who sent me a OMG, I didn't know he was married message on Facebook the same day he came home 12 hours late from a trip visiting his family. I asked her several questions and she said they kissed, but no sex, so I ended up trying to salvage the relationship. I didn't tell her that I was 8 months pregnant at the time because she seemed to feel guilty enough already. Her confession helped me be confident in my assessment of his pattern of lying and cheating when I did eventually leave him after the Craigslist job, which is why I will always support outing cheaters. Partners need to know the truth in order to be able to make their own decisions. Story 2. One of my ex-boyfriends always kept his cell phone by the bed. He would even let me answer it. But this one night he left it downstairs. I was aggravated by the low battery beep, and so I went in search of it. Once I found it, I opened it. It was a flip phone, and I saw he had a new text message. So I read it. The girl felt so sorry for him because he had to cancel his plans with her due to him having a cold. She even offered to bring him some chicken noodle soup. A pumpkin. You're so sweet. I wasn't mad at her. Obviously, he had been lying to her. I replied to the text and told her that he doesn't have a cold. Instead, he was hanging out with me, his girlfriend of so many months. I also told her to give me an hour to gather my things and she could bring the soup over to comfort him in his time of loss. I proceeded to pack my things, which included an extra set of dog kennels because I stayed there with my dogs a lot. He woke up and I told him everything. I asked him for my house key, gave him his, and took my happy ass home. No shouting, no screaming. I didn't even ask him why. There's never a good excuse, but how I handled that breakup always makes me smile. Story 3. When he was supposed to be on his way to my house, but he didn't answer me for like 3+ hours, I stopped to help someone change their tire, and I didn't want to be rude and use my phone to text you. Why did it take 3 hours to change a tire? And how could they possibly think it would be rude of you to tell someone who is expecting you that you're going to be late? Well, I had to actually drive them to another place because they didn't have a jack, so I took them there, and then we had to come back and fix the tire. And during all that, you didn't think about calling me and telling me what's up? You said you were on your way and just went AWOL for 3 hours. I told you I didn't want to be rude. Yet it turns out he had a whole another girlfriend, and I was the one he was cheating with. I honestly thought we were in a relationship for like 8 months, and then I saw some messages between him and his actual girlfriend, and he always told her he was hanging out with the guys whenever he was over. Happy ending. Like 6 months after we broke up, I saw him walking around during our city's beer fest and absolutely tore him a new one because I was drunk AF. He always used to make comments about my weight/body, but I had lost 80 pounds, and by the looks of it, he found them. I always thought I would be embarrassed to drunkenly scream at someone in the streets, but I was not. Fel Goodman. Story 4. He left me in Thailand by myself, took the majority of my money. I had fronted the costs, but neglected to log out of Facebook on my phone. His had broken. Saw a steady stream of messages between him and 4 other girls, each of whom he slept with during the 2 weeks I was in Thailand alone, struggling to make ends meet. Meanwhile, he was off spending the money he was meant to pay me back with on alcohol and sleeping with numerous different women. When I sent him the screenshots, his legitimate reply was, "I don't know where those messages came from. I haven't spoken to those girls in years." Yeah, dude, your timestamp of yesterday at 9 p.m. would say otherwise. Needless to say, I promptly dumped his ass. Story 5. In the end, after distancing himself from me, using his 2 jobs and personal problems as excuses, when he could finally avoid it no more, he says to me, "I just felt bad. You had all those issues with your parent, and you were so busy." One of my parents had been in the hospital around that time, and we thought they weren't going to make it. Despite that, every time I could step away, I'd write him, but he was always the one who was too busy for me. I was never too busy for him despite what he said. Mixed with him and this other last guy I had problems with, I just told myself I'll stay single. There's just too much trash out there. There's no such thing as a man who looks just one way. In my personal opinion, I'm okay with being alone. If I find someone, I'll find them, but I'm in my 30s now, and I'm not looking. Story 6. We're not serious. He slept with anyone he could but kept half dangling a relationship in front of me. I was pleased to not be serious. I wanted to have something casual, had just come out of my first relationship, and it had been really long, and I'd never been on the market and never really had the chance to experience being young and dumb, and was glad when he offered it. Then he cried over the phone when he thought he saw me walking down the street holding hands with another man. I was really confused and thought I'd better break it to him that I'd thought we weren't serious, therefore had also been sleeping with other people. A fraction of the number he had. He was furious. Gotta say, I actually laughed at him. This might be considered shameful, but meh. Story 7. I was incredibly dumb and young. He said it was hard being long distance. It was a 30-minute drive, and he broke up with me. He started dating a friend of a friend. We got back together a few months later, and I met his friend, who told me about his relationship with her friend and didn't realize there was overlap between our relationships. So she outed him as having cheated on me a week or so before he broke up with me. When I confronted him, he claimed she only pretended to give him a job to freak out her friend. They were in the back seat while his friend was in the front also hooking up with someone, then claimed he just couldn't handle the long distance. Then said nothing ever happened. Then if I tried to bring it up, because my dumbass got engaged to him after that, he started claiming I was crazy and made it up. Story 8. As a teenager, my then boyfriend caved after my best friend told me they had kissed in my bed the morning after I threw him a surprise 21st birthday party at my house. His excuse: she was your best friend, so I thought we could be best friends too, and you would be cool with us all being so close. More recently and heartbreakingly, the guy I had lived with and dated through university, was planning on moving overseas with, was caught with his brother's new girlfriend. She told me everything a week later, screenshots, voice recordings later. The closest he got to admitting it was that he invited her over after they got blind drunk. They talked about her sad past, felt like more of a betrayal due to emotional connection, etc. And then she started finger-banging herself. After that, he rejected her and went to bed. He woke up with her naked next to her but doesn't remember what happened after he went to bed, and he did tell her to sleep on the couch. One of the last things he ever said to me was that it was sad that, out of his whole family, brother included, I'm the only one who believes the girl over him.